Hello, hello. Hi, dear viewer. Welcome to yet another episode of How We Met Show here at Church of Uganda Family TV. How are you doing? How is your beautiful Sunday? Well, we are here not to disappoint because we never do. Today, today, no, a great, amazing couple, the famous Katweheyos, and they are right here to tell us their story of how and when they met. This is what we do here at How We Met Show. And ladies and gentlemen, why don't you join me and welcome this great couple, the How We Met Show. Ba la 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 la. Hi, the famous Katweheyos.
Hey Claire.
Happy to meet you and happy to have
meet
you on the show.
Thank you
Glad
very
to be
much.
How are you? You're glowing, eh?
He's doing a great job.
She's doing an amazing job.
I love that. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, the viewers out there are so excited to get to know how and when you met. Would you please say hello to them, and then after we do what has brought us here?
Okay. Ladies first.
Hello, viewers. Glad to be here and glad to share our story here.
Hi viewer. Great to connect with you because we can't see you, but great to know that you are there. Thank you.
Oh yeah, are you seeing what I'm seeing? Are you hearing what I'm hearing? Anyways, dear viewer, do not forget that this show is in partnership with Life Ministry Uganda. You can always check them out on their website and social media platforms. They will be glad to hear and connect with you. Well, a little bit about the Katweheyos. I know you would want to know who is Elon and who is Ruth. Well, briefly, I'll let you know who they are. Elon and Ruth Katweheyo have been married for the last 7 years. So wow, seven. And you're
Complete.
still shining like this, eh?
By the grace of God.
Amen. That can only be God.
Yeah.
And God has blessed them with two handsome boys, Engabo and Itungo, and a beautiful girl, Echurunga. Where did you get those names from?
The name bank.
The name bank. Oh, give
Right
us.
from the source. Right from the source.
Elon is a telecommunication engineer by profession, and in response to God's call, joined full-time missionary work in Life Ministry Uganda in 2013. Elon currently leads the Leader Strategies Life Ministry Uganda. And Ruth, the queen in the building right about now, is a nutritionist and dietitian.
Yes,
Ooh.
that one.
That one who is also currently serving with Life Ministry Uganda. They are passionate about helping young people relate meaningfully, and together with his wife, they prepare engaged couples for marriage. He loves traveling, music, and making friends, and hope that the queen loves the same too.
She loves
I'm-
cooking and I love eating, you know.
What a match, what a good
Yes.
combination. So she cooks and you eat.
Yes.
I really,
Yeah.
really love that. But without any further ado, please let's enter into this. How and when did you meet?
All right. Okay. Thank you very much, Claire, for having us here. And yes, surely my queen and I met several years ago. We met while at the university. I was a second year student
I was a fresher.
and she was a fresher. So I had, together with the others, the privilege of welcoming the freshers. So strategy.
I see where this is taking us now.
Yeah, strategy. Yeah, so we welcomed a batch of freshers, and so I can't say that that's where we met, but I guess that's the first time. That's where, at least, we first glanced at each other. We talk about a glance, and I had some OBs, you know, just there below me, who also joined the university, and they were friends from high school, and I noticed that in their circle there was Ruth and other girls. Yeah, so that's the other place where we glanced at each other. But the other thing that I would say right from the word go is that even at that time, both of us were Christians, were born again, and were passionate about serving the Lord. So as we were involved with the fellowship and the ministry at the university. So yeah, that's like the genesis, or should I say, the preamble. I want to leave her to delve into how we first actually who noticed. I noticed you, so let me share the story. Okay.
So they usually actually
So
say freshers don't have eyes.
No.
Were you even?
We were
Then
looking for
Taba.
the next building where we're supposed to be, trying to figure out campus life. People were noticing.
Yeah, but actually,
Wow.
I didn't notice her as a first year. No, I noticed her when she was in second year, and I was in third year.
At least there, her eyes had, opened a little bit.
Yes. and of course, I had seen her around. One of the things that I had seen, number one, she had long black hair. I love hair, and if I could, grow my hair. But I mean, it's not possible. So
God answered
I had seen
through
that.
her. Yeah.
But also the other thing I had seen and I'd wondered. So one of her favorite outfits was a long black skirt that had pockets, pockets here. So I asked myself, of course, you're not thinking anything, but I'm like, okay, this girl that puts on a long at university, campus.
I know.
Campus. Everyone wants to
And that was
show
second
even what
year
they
or
don't
first year.
have.
That was
Even right from first year.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And they usually say in
know?
first year it starts from here, and then second year it goes up, and then third
It
year.
stayed down up to even third year. It stayed down. Yeah. So
Wow.
anyway, in my third year, I was the papa of one of the ministries, actually Life Ministry Chabogo, and we had a mission together with the Christian Union. So we left the university. It was a week before the semester started, so we left the university, went to the Far East near the Kenya border, district called Buko. And yeah, so I was co-leading that mission with the leader of the Christian Union. And every evening would have time for evaluation and recap of the day, how many people were won to Christ and how did the day go. So in one of those evenings, I don't remember which day, but one of those evenings, probably maybe the third or fourth day, it wasn't at least the first or second, we're having that evaluation meeting, I'm leading it, and I get to realize or to spot a certain girl, second year, she wasn't a
You're
leader.
fresh again.
Ah,
No.
no. It wasn't a fresher by this
No.
time. So it was a second year. But I got to realize that this girl had been journaling right from the time we met at the university, to detail of at 9:43 we did this, at 7:01
Okay. Wow.
we stopped at Namawojolo,
We want to know where all that comes from now.
Please let her tell us. I was like, what is this? So let her tell us.
No, I love writing, and it was my very first trip to the East, the Far East. So I was excited. For me, it was not just mission, it was like an adventure.
Yes, exactly.
And I wanted to have a clear record of my first trip to the Far East. I'd only gone as far as Lugazi because I studied in Namagunga. So I was looking forward to exploring the East. But also it was my first mission in a place where I didn't know the language, I didn't know the people, I had never been. So I just thought the best way for me to capture this memory is just to take down every detail, and I can always look back to it and say, wow, look at what we did back in the day.
Wow.
Yeah, I was not setting myself up for anything. I was just enjoying myself.
You were just
And I
being
still
yourself.
have
I
that
mean,
record up to now.
Oh.
Yeah, I still love to write, not as much now, but I still love to write, capture the memory with some words.
Oh, okay. That's
Yeah.
so
So
beautiful.
so anyway, what can I say? I noted and you put a star. You say okay. But one thing I did since I was leading the mission, I had two secretaries. So I called them and told them that in case you missed any detail, please check with Ruth. She has a lot of information for the mission. So now that made Ruth like a supervisor of, you know. Yeah. When you spot a
Nice
talent,
things can
you deploy.
happen.
Yes, together you deploy.
That quick now she's
But nothing,
supervising
but
the
nothing happened.
secretaries. Okay.
Nothing
I
happened.
just had all the records to the
Okay,
detail.
okay.
Yeah.
That's all right. We
So,
take that.
so nothing happened at that point. But I guess the mission gave us opportunity to become friends, at least to go beyond the glancing. Yeah, that I mean, I'd seen her around. I stayed in a hall where I could see whoever went to the dining. So I could see.
And she was very, very consistent
Consistent.
with all the meals.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. In her long black skirt or whatever. Yeah, very decent girl.
Oh,
So
that's
so we come
beautiful.
back to
Yeah,
the
she's a lady.
Yeah, she is a beautiful one at that. So we come back to university after the mission. Now we are friends, so we could talk. Just hello, and I've told you I was leading that ministry. So that was third year and fourth year. So time and again, when for example, I had some work to be done, and I needed a quick hand, I would even send work to her. You know, kind of secretary work, because I realized that was her gifting.
And I would find a way to get a laptop and work
Deliver.
through it in the night
Yeah.
because I needed
Wow.
to deliver.
Yeah.
Ladies, you have to deliver.
Yeah,
you
you have to
never know
deliver.
where it will lead you.
Yeah, and I would say that with no string attached, I would say she became a friend, someone that I could have a conversation with. Not necessarily that I was going towards a certain direction or no, just a friend. And yeah, I couldn't at some point, maybe when a thought came, I couldn't even build on that thought because she was in a relationship.
Oh,
Yeah, at a certain point she was in a relationship,
wow.
and these are people we knew, we prayed for, we supported, so that there couldn't even be a hint of anything. Yeah, but I don't know whether you want to come in at that point. Yeah.
Yes, so maybe the other thing that connected us is that as we served together and worked together, we realized that we had some things in common.
Yeah.
So when his father passed on, they had started a foundation called the Eldad Kateshumba Foundation, and the focus of the foundation was to promote Christian principled education. So the first time when he introduced the idea to me, he was actually looking for students to volunteer to
Friends,
usher
yeah.
at an event, a memorial lecture, where they were going to talk about Christian principled education. And when he shared the whole idea, for me it clicked because I have always desired to really promote Christian principles in education, because I'd come to a point where I'd seen how my Christianity influences my academics. So I was glad to serve. Well, I love ushering, so I was glad to serve. And when I got there, I realized this is something I would just want to give my time to get to engage with more, learn more, interact more, and help to build whatever there is in line with Christian principled education. So there I got to meet his mother, I got to meet his brothers. But
Little did you know that you are actually
Yeah.
meeting your
Family.
in-laws.
and they were actually good people, really good people. So one of the things that intrigued me is that I met his brothers, and they were very honorable men. And I looked at the mother and wondered, how did you raise such men? Like, oh, these are very admirable men. So I had that interest, but of course, I just thought I mean, it's good to meet a wonderful family and learn a thing or two from them. And so that part of the Christian principled education really intrigued us and actually caused us to work together more often with subsequent events, with trainings, with workshops, with reaching out to other teachers to equip them. And that was one good opportunity. But the other thing that connected us was events. So when I joined university, in my heart, I wrote down and desired to have an events company and had even thought of a name. But by that time when we met, it hadn't materialized. I was still very positive that it would happen because it was a passion I had. So he also likes event. He likes. So one of those times, because we were friends and talking a little more often, he was in Imbara for an event. He was emceeing. And he was excited. I mean, when he made that phone call to me in, I think, a break in there during the event, I could hear his excitement about what he was doing. And then from there, he had got another assignment to MC in Kampala, and he was excited.
So, Elon, all along you're an MC. People hide under there.
Professional.
So first give me 5. So, where have you been, Claire?
Now you know.
Now I know.
I get some money once in a while. So give me gigs.
This is the house of talent.
Give me
Wait.
gigs. We'll pay.
Very professional. He has the best jobs.
So,
Just be sure.
so just there, that Friday I did a Kohinjera emceeing. And then while at that gig, I got a gig for the following day where I would need to MC in Luganda. Yeah, but also just for you to know, I've been Katweheyo before. So
Wait, we are. You're not just from near. Yeah,
you've come from far.
Yeah, all the talent that you need for events is right here.
I can see this
So
is a house
that
of
time
talent.
when he called me and told me about the events thing and how he's excited, I just told him, you know what, when you're coming back, when you come back to campus, let's sit down and talk through this thing. And well, also part of that is that I told him, when you're coming back, bring me some cake. And glad enough, when we met 2 or 3 days later, he had got
Cake.
but this cake was one of those fruits that I think, being the kabokamwala, it was wrapped nicely.
Yeah.
And for me, I think that hit something as like, oh wow, you can be trusted with even some of these little things. So he comes back.
Great. Boys, take
Take
So
notes.
yesterday night we were looking
Take
at
some
a diary
notes here.
for 2012 where we sat down and wrote down what the events company would do,
Yes.
who the service providers would be in terms of food, in terms of deco, in terms of music, and we had a whole plan. And we afterwards we discussed and decided that the name would be Royal Events Planners.
Oh.
And
But Royals.
so that time, after we had finished that engagement and had a clear plan, I sent him a message. And we're not using this smartphone, so it was those small phones. So I wrote those messages that come in 4 parts. And I was really just explaining the fact that this partnership is good, but it just can't work. I'm in another relationship. And he never replied that message.
I can't waste my energy.
He never
Really.
replied that message, but I realized even at that point that I could not be in a partnership with another gentleman when I am relating with another gentleman. It wouldn't work.
But it was just business, I mean.
Exactly. It was a
Yeah.
business where I would really be investing time and together as we work on the business. And I just didn't see how it would work. So the idea
Floated.
floated there.
Mama,
finished-
sorry, Royo.
So we finished the
Fear
university.
women.
Fear women.
So we finished the university and we're still working with the Christian principled education.
Yeah.
There we were working. So when we finished university, he was chairing a secretariat, a team of volunteers who are running the foundation. And I was the secretary to the chair.
Which better secretary is
I mean,
there? than the one you have tested and
Yeah.
proved.
So we would meet weekly with a team to talk about how to strategize, how to plan, how to implement our plans, and to really connect as a team. And that was one of the ways that really brought us together, because we'd meet at All Saints, and at the end of every meeting, the chair, I think the chair had some kamani, because he would always buy us tea, you know. And when you just finished university, that tea and a bite was every reason why you should come
It's
to
enough.
Nakasero once a week. So we took lots of tea.
Where was all that money coming from, Banak?
Sente diriwo. Sente diriwo.
Yeah. So we continued working with the foundation, and well, when I finished, fast forward is that when I finished university, that relationship ended somehow.
The one she was in, not
The one
Okay,
that I was
somehow.
yeah.
So
Okay.
Ended.
after about 2 months,
Hope someone was not over praying and saying, God, do
he will
something, do
tell
something.
us. So when it ended, I remember giving him a call and saying, by the way, we now need to talk about your events planners.
First pause right there. I just think I could just chip in a little bit there. One, she was sorted. In all our fellowship, we knew that they're okay. So it was. I would not even. I don't think it even was a hint of a thought that pursue this one. And you see, given the setting of the fellowship, there is no way as a believer and a papa I would pursue a girl who's dating another guy. No. I mean, that was. And also, God had given me an instruction not to date when I'm the papa. One time I almost faltered. There was a girl I really loved and tried to pursue, and it was a very difficult one to get. And actually, God sent someone, and we met up somewhere in town for a cup of coffee, an older gentleman. And he is someone that I looked up to, like in ministry. He was a missionary by that time. And so when we reached the part of the parting shots with this missionary, he started telling me about the things that disrupt ministry, those bottlenecks or challenge, what causes ministries to abort. And he looked at a young man God has called in ministry, and the first thing he talked about was relationships. I mean, he said other things, but I don't remember the other things. At that point, I knew God was serious, that I should wait until a point in time when I'm actually ready. So I dropped that idea. But in that same time, I met a friend who we became friends. Would share once in a while, catch up. This friend was not at the same university. She loved the Lord. We went even on mission together. And I invited her for my handover when I was handing over as Papa in my 4th year. And I knew that, God, I have fulfilled your instruction. I think it was like the following Saturday, I asked her out.
Wait, Ruth was.
Someone who's not
okay.
Ruth, someone else.
No,
Yeah.
Someone, I was also at that handover anyway.
Yeah. So anyway, that relationship didn't take long. Just to show you that actually I wasn't seeing this way. So it was a very intentional relationship. It didn't take long because we're not on the same page. We're not on the same page. God had called me to ministry with Life Ministry Uganda, and God had told me that I would serve with my wife. So she was not willing to join. So I told her, either come join Life Ministry and then we prepare and get married, or you stay there and the relationship is done. And she chose the latter, and the relationship was done. Period. So it is in that same time we are meeting weekly for the foundation and taking tea and I have a secretary, I have a team which I'm leading. So now that is when one of those evenings later on that she gives me that phone call which she had started asking whether we could talk about royal events. Now,
And you're like,
hey,
Katondo, come here fast.
Kati. No, I was like, God, I mean, the hunter has become the hunted or something. So anyway, as a guy, I knew that something fundamental had changed on her side. But I chose not to say anything, but to first meet her need. So we met in town, we discussed about royal events, we talked about the strategy, we even made business cards, we even did gigs, you know. We did gigs at National Theatre, at Red Rose, in Kampala. This is
That was
2013.
so serious.
Yeah. We made some money.
Oh.
Yeah. We made some
So
money.
you covered the expense of that evening tea.
So there we were partners, marketing partners in Royal Events Planners. We even opened up a Facebook page, that's what was there at the time, for marketing. And we got some gigs really, here and there. And a few weeks later, one of those evenings, I gave her a phone call. I think we talked for close to 4 hours in the night.
Wait
Or
a
even
minute.
more.
Days of
Yes.
0%,
Yes.
MTN 1%.
99 zone.
Were you talking about the company
No,
or?
no,
That was the
this was
side.
now us. Let us talk.
It was a very thorough interview.
Yeah. Let us talk.
Interview.
In that one phone call, I got to know her parents, her siblings, what they do, where she was born, what happened, when, what, how, who, where, as in everything I needed to make a decision. Everything I
Ruth,
needed.
how were you feeling about that?
It was more like talking to a friend,
Oh.
and just that you realize, okay, I think this is not the usual conversation, but it was more like talking to a friend, and you're sharing this and the other. That's what it was like. Just that it went on and on and on and on.
Yeah.
And then the next few days, all my Facebook pictures had been liked and commented on. So the days when I joined, I said, "Oh, I think something is
Stalker.
happening here."
You have to check what has gone down, you know? You have to check.
Be careful of what you post on your social media platforms.
One day
One
it may
day.
be your undoing or your doing.
Wow. I think for a bit, let the viewer take a look at your memory lane, and this show returns immediately after that. Please don't go anywhere. Beautiful place to be. The story is so beautiful. Well, love is a beautiful thing. You see what I'm saying? Exactly. Well, back to you, the Katweheyos. I have loved, and my jaws are actually hurting right about now. But anyways, just take us from the 4 hours of a phone call and in the night. Weren't you dozing a bit? All the questions were,
How can you doze?
The network was clear. There was no dosing.
Oh,
Yeah, so we had that call, and that call leveled the ground for both of us. It wasn't one way. She actually also asked her questions. She made her inquiries. So it wasn't one way. You can imagine. And at the end of that phone call, I think she proposed that can we meet and talk a bit more. But there was something that maybe before that conclusion I have remembered. There was something. I asked her a question because I needed clarity. That's when she clarified that the other relationship had ended. And then I asked a question. What was the question?
So, what do you think about us?
Yeah. So I immediately hit the iron while it's still hot and asked, what do you think about us?
okay. This
Yeah.
is so. Okay. This is actually very, very beautiful. So now when she tells you, okay, the other relationship is done, you're like, this is the right time for me now. Ruth, did you need time to maybe first, heal? I don't know what it is, or
So that's when the conclusion comes in.
So
yes.
my response to that question was, we are friends, and that is good. I still had my concerns about relationships and whether it was worthwhile, whether I could actually really trust someone. And I just told him, I think let us meet up. I have some questions to ask, but I would just want to talk through things and just get to a place where I know what's up. So I didn't give him an answer. Then I just said, let's keep our friendship going. Of course, we are still working together, but let us plan and meet up and talk some more. You could help me answer some questions, help me clear some doubts. But it was the place of we are already friends. So I want us to, what I think about us is that we are good friends. Let us keep the friendship going. We'll see how it plays out along the way.
that was good.
Yeah, so anyway, the day comes. I don't remember whether Tuesday or Thursday. So I think it was a Tuesday. We met up at a restaurant in Bugolobi. Tuesday afternoon, I think about 2 p.m. up to about 5 or so. And the objective of the meeting was largely for her to offload. She said she had many questions. Actually says I have 1,000 questions. I said, I'm all ears. So I think I went first before you shared. I felt that I needed to also give my portion of accountability. So I shared with her. Thankfully, she knows the lady I was with, just like I know the gentleman she was with. So I told her how we started, what happened, and how we parted ways. So I also mentioned to her, I don't remember at what part, but in our conversation, I mentioned to her that God had spoken to me as the man, as the leader that I would serve with my wife in Life Ministry Uganda. And for me, that was a non-negotiable, because issues of calling, issues of purpose are destiny issues. They have far-fetching benefits, rewards, but also consequences if not followed. So that was a non-negotiable. So I asked her whether she is the kind of woman that would be my wife. In other words, be ready to serve with me. And that's when she shared with me her purpose in life. And then she mentioned that Life Ministry gave her that platform. Why not? She would be gladly in. And
that
yes,
was so cute of you.
Yeah, but the other side now was that she poured out. She spoke. I think she spoke for like 1.5 hours non-stop.
I thought 4
Or like
hours
2
again.
hours.
Just like 2 hours.
Like 2 hours non-stop. I did one thing.
You listened.
I listened.
That was.
If you ask me today what she said, I don't remember anything.
And he was listening so keenly.
No question, no nothing. Just maybe sometimes just clarifications of, did you mean this? You have to meet a need. I think even if you had asked me the following day what she talked about, I don't think I would even be remembering anything.
Rapunzel was here.
So,
but she listened so
yeah.
well. He listened so well, and it was an opportunity for me to talk about my previous relationship. It had ended at a time when I was also finishing up with my university, and it was just something that I just put away and not worked through. And I was just focusing on finishing to be able to graduate. So I'd never talked about it. So along the way, it brought very many questions. Did I not do well? What didn't go right? Who can be trusted? Even relationships worthwhile? Are these Christian boys reliable? Can you trust them? So those were things that I was just sharing and bouncing off him. And And in that, I was finding my healing, just releasing and getting to a place of, okay, maybe through that, I can be ready to give it a shot one more time. Yeah, and of course, what he mentioned is that the aspect of calling and purpose was very clear. And for me, at the university, I'd got to a place where I knew what I wanted to give my life for. And it was really to reach out to young ladies and empower them, especially university ladies, and help them to understand that what you really need at the university is not the latest clothes, is not the money, it's not even the A's,
Not the latest phone.
it's not even the latest
iPhone,
gadgets, but what you need is to find your identity in Christ. And what I told him was, if Life Ministry gives me such a platform, please count me in. I would be very glad to serve with you. And of course, later on, I learned that actually Life Ministry gives me that platform. So I'm very glad to be here serving alongside my husband, but also working in my purpose, and day by day seeing that mission play out as I reach out to young people.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, conclusion. The conclusion of our our date. That place is lovely. She loves nature, so any day it would be gardens or what. So I look for a place that would also minister to her in that sense. So the conclusion of our conversation that afternoon was that let's hold on to start the relationship. We came to terms that we like each other, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somehow
Yeah.
a bit of it.
That we like each other. At least as a thing
I
at
think
that
for
point.
me it was a thing of, this is a friend, this is someone that I can bank on, I can trust them. And of course the liking was there, but it was still this thing of, this is your leader, this is your chairman, so you better be serious, don't get confused here. But I had a proven record of his genuine friendship and his reliability and dependability, and the fact that I could trust him by what I had seen him do and work through when we were at the university and even right after the university.
Yeah. So conclusion was, let's maintain the beautiful friendship. Yeah, let's be friends. Let's continue as friends. Let's maintain the beautiful friendship. And up to a certain point when we felt that, okay, now maybe we are ready to advance to the next level, in the relationship or friendship. And I'll tell you, we continued meeting weekly. And at the time, I was also leading the outreach ministry at church. So I was leading a team. We were reaching out 5 schools. Each school had an outreach team. So I was leading one of the schools. So she joined my team. So there's this time when I preached and I invited her to make the altar call because it was a girls' school. So I intentionally used that time to actually test, to test and see, is this the kind of person who would be my suitable helper? I tell people that you have to test. Like, some of the tests I did was that, but the other one was, sometimes I would intentionally not call, not text, just to see if I don't call, will my friend, also, and also this continued even in the dating relationship.
That's okay. Now let's first hear from Ruth, because actually, usually, ladies suffer with that. When you don't text or don't call, they're like, okay, he's feeling sweet. Okay, let me show. What were you doing at that time?
I think I called, I sent texts. Of course, it was not like the natural thing to do, but I wanted to talk to my friend, and I decided to reach out and say hello, send a text and say, how are you doing? How was your day? I did not know that it was a test at all.
No, you wouldn't know.
Oh, Ruth, you're so sweet. Give me 5.
You wouldn't know.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
So anyway, so that meeting in Bugolabit happened around October, early October 2013. Fast forward, 1st December 2013, we had ministry. at the school. I think we had ministry at the school. Then we went for the youth service, which was in the afternoon. And then after that, I just drove slowly. I had a car that I was using at the time, and went to a restaurant. And a very private affair. It was a very personal affair because I know her. Even now for birthday, she would want me to take her for a dinner of 2. And I'm like, let's invite friends. Like, so I took her, and so we started dating 1st December, should I say, courtship, 1st December 2013. And 1 week later, I traveled out of the country for a staff conference. At the staff conference, I got to learn that I would be away for a much longer time the following year, for the whole year. So while I was still out of the country, I broke the news to her. And her response was that she chose to spend Christmas, Boxing Day, the day pre-Christmas, post-Christmas with my family in Mbarara.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
The wife
My
material.
grandmother, my mother, and they knew her. So people kept asking, my uncles kept asking, so who's Ruth? Everyone said, Elon's friend.
Oh, so
I don't know what
cute.
my parents thought then, but I think they said, well, I think the girl has grown, so she has friends whom she has decided to
Yeah.
spend Christmas with. And they let me.
They let you be. Wow.
Yeah.
Anyways, I now see why why your yes was actually that easy, because you were sure you were actually
Yeah.
not taking a Chinese maid. Like
Yeah.
he was.
I had
Original.
seen the real him, but I had also interacted with the family to see where he really comes from. So
Yeah.
I knew how the Christian foundation that they had. I had interacted with each of the brothers at different occasions, and I knew what I was going in for in a way. So it gave that genuine base of friendship from which we were building on, even to make a decision that we were to make about planning to get married.
Oh,
Yeah.
just so amazed. But girls move it serious.
Which
These
thing
things are
is-
real.
Which they gave
This is
her.
a real story. So when did you now say, now let's have a wedding, let's seal this whole thing?
Yeah. So 2014, I spent most of it in Swaziland, and we only Skype, WhatsApp, Facebook.
So you're dating international.
But those things are not easy. Not easy. So of course we couldn't talk as often. She had her own temptations. I mean, there are guys who asked her out, and for me, wherever I went, one of the first things I said, I left a fiancé at home in Uganda. So I had to bring it out up front. But that didn't, of course, insulate me from the challenges. They're beautiful guys in the South. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, so in 2014, I think we took time. I took time to pray and fast. And it was around September that God made it clear that we would get married in 2016. This is 2014. And God gave us some dates, like a period. Guided us to that, even guided us to who would wed us, and families and all. So the moment I came back at the end of 2014, I had to meet is my spiritual father, Bishop Henry Lukorombi, and tell him that I'm planning to wed 2016. This is 2014. And he wrote it down in his calendar, the tentative date. And 2015, I took her to my mom. And my mom started playing her. So who is she? As long as but my mom. Anyway, so so I had to introduce her, right from the beginning, and tell her a story in brief, and mention to her the dates we have in mind. We were settling down. She made a few suggestions. We said that's fine. 2 weeks later, she took me home, her parents in Fort Portal. We shared the same date. This is 2015. So once her parents were in agreement and the officiating bishop, Papa, was in agreement, we went ahead to book the church. Actually, we booked church a year in advance. We booked our reception hall a
Guys
year
were
in
serious,
advance. Yeah. Marriage is serious. It is very serious. So we booked in advance, made a deposit at the reception venue at Uma, and now the other preliminary function started. Kugamba Bwenje in November 2015. Then July 2016, we had the Kwinjira and the wedding. Yeah, so 9th July 2016. So that was I would say by January of 2016, we had a wedding committee in place, we had a budget and the service providers in place and contacted, booked. So yeah, preparation didn't, actually we enjoyed, we were not stressed.
Wow, that was good. That was
We were not stressed, we enjoyed our preparation. The day before our wedding, I went for heat awards at Serena. You know?
Jesus,
Yeah, so-
Jesus. Anyways, your event planner. Ruth,
Yeah.
event planner here. Well, any highlights briefly from
So
either
one
your...
of the things that happened is that when he came back to Uganda at the end of 2014, I had started work in Imbara. So the whole of 2015, I was in Imbara. But when he came back, we decided that we'd be very intentional about preparing for a marriage. So we reached out to a couple, the Choves, who are marriage preparation experts. They do serve with life ministry as well. So we reached out and said, we'd like you to prepare us for marriage. And we're starting at a time where we're not thinking about the decor, the flowers, the gown. Our minds were still open and we
Preparing
could
for
focus on
marriage.
that. So I remember I would
That
have
was
to travel.
January 2015.
Yes. So I would have to plan in my schedule to travel from Barra every 2 weeks to come for those premarital counseling sessions. And it was it was work, I can tell you. I remember I knew how to use Global Bus without even looking at it because I was on the move every weekend. But I had to come and it was worthwhile to get to talk about expectations, to talk about our backgrounds, to talk about what we anticipate in marriage, how our backgrounds have shaped us, to talk about communication, finances, sex, our roles in the marriage, and all those times were worthwhile. And it wasn't just with that one couple, but we even had other couples where we had intentional regular engagements. So those were some of the highlights. So by the time it came to January 2016, we were now wrapping up our premarital counseling. And I mean, by the time the phone calls are coming in from the service providers, we are not debating on whether it is important to prepare for the wedding or for the marriage. We had already put in the work and prioritized preparing for a marriage because we knew that is what we are really going to have. Once the day is gone, we are going to have a marriage that will go on till death do us part.
Oh my God. Like you already mentioned, well, marriage is so serious. So you have to seriously prepare for it. I'm
Yeah.
so happy about all this. And I know the viewer out there, surely, you gotta pay me for that. Anyways, let's take a look at their story and then we will return with the parting shots and then the before you say I do counselor's tip and we'll close the show. Hope you enjoyed that. We are still with the Katweheyos and right about now, unfortunately, our time is really fast spent, but interestingly spent. We enjoyed every bit of their story. And right about now, you are here to give us your parting shots, sadly, and then we close the show.
Okay. Ladies first.
Parting shots, I would say choose to invest in your marriage, not just the wedding day. And one of the ways to invest is to build a solid friendship where you can always bounce on, you know. When times get tough, when times get really so good, you have a friend in your spouse. And I mean, if things didn't work out and we never got married, we would still have a friendship that
Yeah.
we can always bank on.
Certainly.
And the other thing is, have values when you are relating. We had a set of values which would always check ourselves against to see whether we are still on track, would hold each other accountable, and even our friends would hold us accountable on those values. And in addition to the bit of the friendship, I would say, the ladies, when you are asked out, be clear. Don't say that you're going to the prayer mountain, you're going to pray and fast,
And then you don't
and-
pray.
and then 3 months later you have not responded, and then when you even come back you don't have a response. I'm not sure whether you are praying or you never heard what the Lord was saying, but I believe when we have that basis of friendship, these answers will come clear.
Yeah.
You will know whether it is a yes or a no, and you communicate it clearly without fear or favor and say, yeah, it's a yes, let's go on, or it's a no, give me some time to work through some things, or it's a no, just look elsewhere, turn your gaze away from me and focus elsewhere. Thank you very much.
Wow, happy to have you, Ruth. Queen Ruth. This is so beautiful.
Yeah, thank you, my queen, for talking about that to ladies. I would say that one of the very critical aspect that, should I say, is underlying through our entire story is the dependence on God. The place of prayer, the place of seeking God. Before I even stepped out to ask her out, I actually took time to pray and ask the Lord first if this is the person that He would want that I would spend my life with. So I want to just encourage you. Ask the Lord, talk to the Lord about that sister. My brother, talk to the Lord about that sister before you go ahead to ask that sister out. And then also, gentlemen, please be focused. Please don't ask out 3 girls at the same time. You know, what if they all say yes? Now you even have an issue. But know what you want. Seek the face of God. Know what you want, as the Lord has showed it to you. Know your purpose. Know your purpose, as Adam was placed in the garden to till, to work the garden before he was given a helper. So the helper that God will give you will be to support you in the work that you have. Yeah, surely with the focus, knowing your purpose, having some non-negotiables, please have a relationship with God and look out for someone who has a relationship with God. And surely your relationship, your marriage will be blessed. God bless you.
Wow. Happy to have you on the show, the Katweheyo. I must say I enjoyed every bit of your story. And to you, our dear viewer, unfortunately, like I already said, we are signing out. And thank you very much for loving Church of Uganda Family TV. Thank you for loving How We Met Show. And thank you for loving me, your world's favorite host. I wish you a very good evening. See you again next Sunday, 5:30 p.m. with yet another beautiful and exciting story. We sign out, but before I do, we will leave you with Before You Say I Do. Counselor's tip: don't go anywhere. I love you. Cheers.
Yes.
We are Francis and Allen Mtatina, and we are marriage counselors. We'd like to talk about why marriage. It's very important to know before you get married why marriage. So, my dear wife, why do you think it is important for people to think about marriage? Why marriage?
Yeah, I think it's important for people to ask themselves that question. I think it's a question often we don't ask ourselves. Why marriage? You know, what are some of the things that you need to know before you get married? And for me, one of them would be, what's my role as a wife in marriage? Yes. As we're getting married, I remember we're talking about these things about marriage, you know. What what's for you, like, for example, for a man, what's a role of men in marriage? I remember something like leadership. We do talk about servant leadership.
Yes, and to know that God ordained marriage, and so when we are getting into marriage, we are in God's agenda. And in that God's agenda, God put the roles of husband and wife in marriage. So it's important before we get into marriage to know that this is God's agenda. And in that God's agenda, He gives us the detail to take care of or to get to know of. So one of them is know that God wants husband and wife to live together in harmony as a team, complementing one another. So that harmony is very important to know. We are not going there as competitors, we are not going there as individuals, but as a team.
Yes, thank you so much, my husband. And I remember actually that as a servant leader, for me it is something that I never thought about so much. But talking about a servant leader, it helped me to know that a husband is supposed to lead his family. So I think when we ask ourselves those questions, it helps us to prepare to come in knowing that he is my leader, he's not my competitor.
Yes, so it's very important to know that in marriage, we are joining it as a team, but in that team, there is a leader, and then we are partnering to make sure that we enjoy that God's plan for marriage.
Wow.
Thank you very much. God bless you.